just want to make an introduction. Probably like a couple of months ago at this point, was just, getting more familiar with my city. I had visited Liberty Station and I saw like all of these signs for music. There's just ballet, there's music, there's academies, there's classes. It's all in Liberty Station in the Arts District. And I was so happy to peek in on this really cool organization called Apt4Music. And I saw two gentlemen, Rice and DJ. Rice is with us this morning, but I just was so inspired by what they're doing. I know a lot of our bridge parents have asked me, are there any music classes or arts classes that are available for our kiddos? I've been with you all for about a year now, so Kendall is one of those kiddos that loves to express himself through music. So that was kind of like exciting for me to finally find somewhere where he can, jam out. He can play his instrument. There's a production studio there. They do a little bit of everything. I don't want to give it all away, but we're still meeting virtually. So we're going to do our pandemic COVID clap. So I'm going to put this hand, or I'll get it in frame. This hand doesn't touch this hand, and we're clapping. Welcome, Rice and Wright with Apt4Music. And feel free to come on camera with us. We're not going to bite you. We're not going to bite you, but we love to see you. Good morning, Rice.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, doing well.
Excellent. Thank you all for having me. Thank you, Melissa, for coming in. Like she was saying, it was just very coincidental that she walked by when our door was opened. We had a great conversation talking about kids and how she just moved to town, and being a jazz performer herself, and I'm a jazz guy myself. We just kind of hit it off like that, and doing what any good business guy does, I made sure to give her a business card. And then from there, she ran with it and checked out our website and what we're all about, and ended up emailing me about how excited she was for us, and then told us more about your organization, Better Life Together, and it just sounded like something. It'd be good to introduce ourselves. We're fairly new. We've been here since March. We officially opened our doors June 15th when the mandate allowed us to. But we kind of kept things close to the chest until our official grand opening was September 3rd, where we kind of went public and called the news stations. And so here we are, just building off of that. Like I said, we're new. So talking to Melissa and looking more into the organization that she's a part of, it seemed like it would be a good fit, good synergy, because well, our first and only intern right now, Zach, he's a challenged citizen, and we provided an opportunity for him to work, and he's now one of our lead guitar restringing techs, class assistant. Works with our kid group classes, and just this past Friday we do a performance recital. It's called First Fridays here at Liberty Station. And he was our MC, where he got on the mic and he was anything but shy about introducing the kids that we're working with. And so we're trying to be more than, say, just a music school where we teach you guitar. We're two things. Is we're trying to teach you how to be a professional musician or make a living in the musical arts, but also to provide opportunity for those that might otherwise have that opportunity. In the case of Zach, he plays guitar, and he's just such a wonderful young man, and his brain is like a sponge. As we show him new guitar riffs, or excuse me, you can probably hear the airplanes flying over here. We're by the airport. We've got him on the mixing board, helping with sound, setting up equipment, you name it, and and so that's an opportunity for him, and that's something we pride ourselves on. We're providing opportunity for musicians with our First Fridays. Not only do we have recitals for our children, but we have family bands, and we have professional musicians, and we want to get them work and provide them opportunities. And then again, on the educational instructional side, and this is where I think Melissa really resonated with us. We have several students that are on the spectrum. And my partner DJ, who he's going to be in a lesson here in the next few minutes, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get him on with you, but he is one of the best educators I've ever worked with. Oh, there he is in the background there, getting ready for his lesson. I have never met a more patient, just wonderful educator. We worked together at another music academy a couple of years ago, and out of the entire staff, he just stood up heads above everybody else in terms of patience, curriculum, personality, you name it. So I'm very blessed to be in business with him and what we're trying to do, and which is essentially well, our 4 pillars, if I'll pull up our logo later, is basically inspire, educate, empower, and lead. And how we feel about that is, you know, like myself, it's been a lot of musicians, we were inspired at one point. And then hopefully that inspiration leads you to want to be educated. And this is where we can come into play. And then through education, I think this speaks for all walks of life with education, you're now empowered. And then the goal is, with that empowerment, we want you to go out to the community and be leaders. And then as a leader, it starts the process over again. You inspire somebody else, and then that somebody else seeks out education, and then they are empowered, then they become leaders, and it starts over and over again. And this is really the crux of what we're trying to do here. And we believe that providing that opportunity for all walks of life, you know, challenged citizens, low income. There's even some higher income parts of San Diego where they just don't have a student body that warrants a staff in the musical arts. And so we have offsite programs that we offer where we can go to those schools just because maybe there's only 15 kids in that class. Well, they deserve an opportunity as well. So really, we're trying to be that one-stop shop for all inclusiveness, as well as the usual basics. We rent out our studio for bands that just need to rehearse. We do streaming and recording services. We do setups and repairs. And as soon as we can find some wholesalers, we'll have some light retail like strings and straps and books, you know, the type of things that students are generally going to need anyways. On top of that, we recently got our 501c3 status. So we are now officially, thank you. We are officially a nonprofit, and just in time too. We know that Giving Thursday or Giving Tuesday, November 30th, I believe it is. So hopefully we do have all our ducks in a row for that. It's just fine tuning things like the PayPal accounts, putting the right wording, get our, you know, on the website to let people know that, you know, that we're here, and their donations will be going to the right places. Again, opportunities for everyone in the community that could need it. So that's kind of the intro pitch, if you will. I prepared a little slideshow presentation. You'll have to forgive me. I'm not the best PowerPoint maker. And if at any point you want me to stop rambling for a second, you just let me know. I know there's the hand raise process on here, and Melissa's going to help me out in terms of everything. But if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. I'm sure there'll be some Q&A at the end. And remind me to, as we go, I'll make sure to put our contact information in the chats, our phone numbers, our website, et cetera, et cetera. So any questions so far? Can I go with the PowerPoint? All right, cool. I am a little nervous yet excited about my PowerPoints. Bear with me as I'm going to share my screen here. All right. Melissa, I can only see you. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can see the presentation? All right, excellent. Oops. Okay. Well, as I said, we are Apt4Music, and our 4 pillars here, as I mentioned earlier: inspire, educate, empower, and lead. And there's our nice colorful logo and who we are. So as you know, I'm Rice Enright. A little bit about me. I've been in San Diego for over 25 years. I've been blessed to raise 2 children in the Point Loma area here. They're both out of the house now. And I like to joke that Apt4Music is my empty nest syndrome of being able to give back to the community that I was able to raise my children in. And this is kind of my give back, if you will. I almost feel compelled to do this because I have been managed to raise 2 children as a musician in this community. And then my partner, well, an educated musician. I went back to school after 25 years of putting that on the back burner so that I could be in my children's life. I had full custody of my son and 50 with my daughter. And I always believed in not visiting my children, but raising them. So like a lot of us, we have to make sacrifices for our children. And so after 20 odd years, I went back to school to finish a degree in business administration, as well as music, the music arts over at Mesa College. And I'm currently enrolled in the San Diego State Music Business Entrepreneurial and Management Program. So as much as I am an artist and believe in the arts, I also believe there's a business to it. Otherwise, I would not be able to do what I'm doing to provide opportunities for those of us here. So, and my partner DJ as well, an educated musician, like I was pumping his tires earlier. One of the greatest educators, one of the most patient, sweetest men I've ever met. Also a background as a performing musician, educated. He is from the San Jose area of California, or at least close enough to be a Sharks fan. And again, we met just kind of per chance working at another music academy a couple of years ago. You can find more extended bios on our website. I'm going to move on here. So what do? Our mission is to create opportunity in the musical arts, kind of like I was saying, making music accessible and achievable for anybody with an aptitude for it. Supporting musical arts on the global level starts with community. We got to start with our neighbors next door before we can affect change in the world. And it's our goal to facilitate this through music-centered programs, services, education. I touched on that earlier. What do I mean by aptitude for the music is we want the children, we want the students, of all ages. We have adult students as well, but we want you to want to be here. We don't believe that the arts should be forced on anybody, and we want the children to gravitate towards it. So essentially, we don't want to just be that after school program that you drop your kids off and you get a break. No, we want the kids to want to be here, and we're very forthright about that. We give away a free lesson just to kind of make sure we're a good fit. We set up a bunch of instruments. Which does the child gravitate towards? Do they gravitate towards none? Are they, say, not ready for it or not? And we'll be very forthright with the parents. We don't want to just take your money. We want to provide, arts for those who want to be here for the arts. So that's what we mean when we say an aptitude for it. I kind of went through this earlier. The inspire, educate, empower, and lead are, inspired when you look for an education, you're empowered through that education, and then you become a leader in this community and hopefully start it all over again. So some of our programs, obviously individual lessons. We do traditional instrument instruction, guitar, bass, piano, ukulele, drums. That's usually the crux of it. As we grow, we just brought on our first part-time employee who will also be offering vocal lessons. As we grow, we've had demand. I believe, Melissa, you were saying your children play trumpet or trombone, and we don't have, say, the means yet to hire a trombone instructor or a multi-instrumentalist like that. But as we are growing, we will eventually we'd be able to offer all of those services. Group experiences, New Music Makers Club and Creator Collab. Essentially the same club where we basically get up to 8 students together, children, and expose them to the bass guitar, drums, the process of writing a song together. It's a great teamwork experience where you get the instrument. We start off with a presentation, kind of get an idea of where we're going. Today it might be a focus on drums, tomorrow more guitar, and then everybody gets to rotate amongst the instruments. And it's usually, on average, a 6-week program. We have it where we can adjust it for shorter programs as well as semester-based lengths. But essentially, the children get to write a song as they're learning about the instruments they're playing as they go. The Ook Jams is kind of just a fun ukulele jams, and really that's more of the let's just show up and have a good time. Those who are proficient with a stringed instrument like an ukulele, they can play the ukuleles. We have a bunch of those. And for those that just want to bang on things, we have lots of drums for them too. We put together a fun class experience for that. Beyond even just our, the instructional programs, we have vendor collaborations. And arguably this is what we're doing here with a Better Life Together. We're vendor collaborating. But with our neighbors here in the Arts District Liberty Station, with the holiday and seasonal workshops, there's a lot of holiday stuff going on right now. I myself am still a performer, and I'm going to be performing for some of the holiday festivities for some of our neighbors here in Liberty Station. Uh, and we kind of turn that artists supporting artists, which is what we need to do to sustain a living in this industry and provide these opportunities. And again, some of the more basic entertainment services. We have kid concerts and recitals. I mentioned First Friday. That gives our students a chance to perform some of the songs they've been working hard on throughout the month. Musical acts, we provide opportunities for amateurs and professionals. Again, think of it as like we're trying to create jobs for people, and as this grows, we need to hire sound men. We need to hire lighting people and roadies, if you will. So there's more than just, say, being that lead guitarist on stage in the music industry. There's a lot more that goes into it than that. And we feel that in a lot of ways, society paints you either a rock star on top of the world or you're a starving musician. We'd like to expose more that there's a lot of blue collar work in between if you're willing to be a worker. I'm a bass player by trade. The spotlight is never on me. That's totally fine, but I'm always gigging. And that's the idea. There's plenty of work out there. Supplemental music education, I mentioned earlier, we have offsite programs for some charter schools. Was it Pacific Coast Academy, PCA is one of them right now. Julian Charter Schools. We've also been doing what's called Liberty Schools here through Liberty Station, working with Dewey Elementary down the street, Washington Elementary, which is across town. And what's really cool is during COVID, DJ and I started off, we were educators, and then overnight we lost all of our students for obvious reasons, but we're very proficient at Zoom. So without too much interruption in our lives, we offered our students the ability to continue lessons and learning through Zoom, and we really honed it down to a really streamlined program. So God forbid the world goes backwards, or if, let's say, you have to call in sick or you tested positive or whatever number of reasons that might prevent you from doing something in person, we can switch to online and the curriculum stays the same, and the child stays on pace. And the one thing we find most with the kids is consistency. With our adult students, life gets in the way. They might come once, twice a month, but with the kids, once a week is a great consistency to keep them engaged, keep them growing, keep them inspired. And like I also mentioned, the miscellaneous instrument setups, repairs, some light retail. We do what other regular studios would be doing around town. We just happen to, it's the extracurricular, if you will. Here's just some cool pictures. This is one of our group classes that I had mentioned, the kids collab. You can see DJ in the back there, always having a good time. There's our intern, Zach, that I was mentioning. And then, well, just assume that there's smiles on all those kids' faces right now. In this group, we have, there is three of our students here are on the spectrum, and they, through the group activity and support and structure, they are thriving in this group environment, where sometimes one-on-one can be a little intimidating when they're with their peers, other kids their own age, and everybody's laughing and kind of having a good time. It seems like they can relax a little bit more, and it's a very positive, embracing atmosphere. Some of the affiliates, like I mentioned, Julian Charter Schools, Pacific Coast Academy. Zach is brought to us through Advocacy for Youth. And we are part of, we've mentioned Liberty Schools. We're also friends of NTC and neighboring vendors within the Arts District Liberty Station. And that, as Friends of NTC, is essentially for our vendors here, we pay into a program that allows our neighbors to come in at discounted rates, their families, things like that. Because again, think of it as artists supporting artists, and we are the premier music, general music educator here on the campus. There's a specialized jazz conservatory next door. The San Diego Youth Symphony is going to be moving in soon. There is a theater that should be opening up in the next year as well. We have, let me think, Songbirds, which is from birth to the age of 8. So when I mentioned earlier, if you bring your child in and through assessing them, maybe they're not quite ready to sit down and focus on playing guitar or whatever, we have a great referral program with Songbirds, and she's like, I'll take them from the moment they're born. If they can hold a rattle, they're making music. And so we have this great synergy with our neighbors, and we joke, if they're too young for us, we'll send them to her. And then when they age out, she sends them right back to us. And so we're trying to pride ourselves and trying to form this hub, if you will, where we're not master, we're, what's the word? Jack of all trades, master of none, in a sense, where we're going to teach you some of these basic foundational requirements of how to make a living in this industry. And as you grow and learn and mature and become more proficient at your craft, well, let's say you're proficient in jazz. Boom, we refer you to the Young Lions Jazz Conservatory next door. Let's say you're more classical inclined, or maybe just theater because you've been taking voice lessons. Well, we're not just going to keep you here for the sake of taking your money or anything. We want you to grow and blossom with these opportunities. So when the time is right, we refer you over to the theater group, or we refer you to the San Diego Youth Symphony, because that's the natural progression in all of this. So again, we just like the idea of everyone say, coming to us first, at least giving us that chance to give your child an opportunity. And this kind of worked with Melissa, although I couldn't offer her trumpet or trombone lessons. I was like, well, please give us a chance to at least refer someone to you, even if it's not going to go through the Apt4Music organization, because of what we believe in, we would still love to refer an educator. And again, I touched on creating jobs or creating opportunities. Well, one of those opportunities is jobs. And we found there's some amazing educators that maybe are just not marketing savvy, so, or shy, for lack of better terms. And this is where someone like me comes in, or an Apt4Music is like, let us do, say, the business side of things for you and get you these opportunities, because just because you're shy or not great with marketing doesn't mean you're not an amazing educator. And there is a family out there that needs to be connected with you. So even if it's not within the walls of Apt4Music, we would be more than happy to make those connections, just because it's what we believe in. A couple more slides here. This is just a screenshot we took of our Liberty schools here at Dewey Elementary, just down the street. And you can see this was all via Zoom. The teachers up in here, some of these kids at the time were still at home. Some were in the schools themselves. And you can see DJ in the upper left there, big smile on his face as always. Little picture collage of some of our students recently. The upper left was our grand opening. The middle upper here is our student bass player Vigo, who's actually in his lesson with DJ right now. I mentioned our intern, Zach. This is him. He is now our guitar string guy. We've worked really hard with him to get him as proficient. And with Zach, again, routine is the name of the game with him. And we have a system set up. I don't have it in front of me, but we couldn't afford the amount of guitar strings that he would probably need to get used to restringing guitars all the time. So we made this little jig where you can snip off the old ends of the guitar strings, slide the jig, and then use the guitar string over again. So it's allowed us to get Zach very proficient with changing strings. Here's just more pictures of some of our students here. This is Jesse. Jesse again on the spectrum. This was his first performance that we recorded and was able to stream to his family. So again, this was before in person was really mainstream again. We recorded him. And what's cool about this setup is, let's say grandma and grandpa live across the country. They can still just tune in and check out Jesse doing his recital. And this boy has really come out of his shell to the point where he cracks us up now. He's just such a wonderful personality. The middle picture here, this is our junior band, the Kids Next Door, and this is just a screenshot of. We work with the Point Loma Summer Concerts, which is another nonprofit organization here in San Diego that puts on a free concert not too far from here for the community. And there's really nothing more to it than just allowing the community to come out and spend a day on the lawn, blankets, kids running around, like very family inviting. This year was very scaled down. It's usually 5 Fridays throughout the summer, but again, due to COVID, just erring on the side of caution and still being socially distant conscious, we just did one show. And we did it during the day on a Saturday, as opposed to the 5. But leading up to that, we had a bunch of our junior bands that Apt4Music is affiliated with, and we asked them if they would like to try out for the main stage. And this main stage was in front of typically 5,000 people. Now, this particular event, I would say there's closer to maybe 1,500, because again, it was very, very scaled down for a lot of obvious reasons. But we did the rehearse or the auditions at Rock and Roll San Diego, another affiliate of ours down the street. Huge production, as you can see, big stage, big amplifiers, big lights. And these kids stepped up like they'd been doing it their whole lives. It was amazing. And sure enough, they got the spot and they were able to open up for the main act at the Point Loma Summer Concert. And then the final photo here is just this was near and dear to my heart. This was just a daddy-daughter combo. They come in, and some of the programs we offer is like band coaching. Now, if you don't have an entire band, we're musicians, we can fill in. So what you don't see in this picture is off to the left, Zach is playing guitar, and behind me on the photograph, DJ is playing drums. And this is how they spend their daddy-daughter time together. And she plays the ukulele and sings, and he plays bass guitar. And it's just the cutest. I can't explain it any better than that. It's really just the cutest thing you've ever seen. So, and finally, I had an Apt4Music promo video that I'm going to play it separately towards after I close this here, because I know I have to select something on the microphone permissions or something so that you can actually hear it. So that's it for the PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to shut that down now. And hopefully I don't lose everybody here on Zoom. Okay. Everybody still there? Can I get a thumbs up? All right, excellent. Does anybody have any questions yet, or can I show you a really cool video that we just got produced? All right, cool. Then I'm going to try my share screen again. And let me set it up here. Make sure I have volume permissions. Share sound. All right, and just give me a thumbs up if you can see the paused video. All right, here we go. Well, there you go, kind of in a nutshell. That was our grand opening that we had on September 3rd, and we had a photographer friend of ours that was just made that amazing video for us, and we basically asked her, can you capture the spirit of the grand opening, but can you also make it so that we can use it for some good marketing material? And we think she nailed it. You saw us doing raffles there. That was well, you saw DJ holding a skateboard. We had a lot of great donations, people that came through, and one of them was skateboards for kids, who's another one of our affiliates, old-time friend of mine, old punk rocker here in San Diego, retired from the music scene, and now he hand paints and makes skateboards for kids, and he donates skateboards. The idea being, you know, kids with guitars or skateboards in their hands are going to be less likely to have other, maybe more negative things in their hands. And so him and I being longtime friends, he's now part of our First Fridays, and he donates a skateboard every month. I mean, and just with us, I mean, never mind, he's donating more on his own, but this is, again, where we're trying to just embrace and provide opportunities for the spirit of what we're doing, which is, again, kids, community, family, those that wouldn't otherwise have access to these type of programs. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Rambling on. Thanks for letting me ramble.
That was an amazing promo video, amazing presentation. I'm going to go on and clap.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's very kind of you.
I cannot wait to share more about what Apt4Music is doing. If you noticed, you are kind of in the regular ABLT rotation now. So please feel free to share any upcoming events. If you want to give a gentle nudge, of course, I did get notifications when you all post, but if you want to give a gentle nudge and send anything directly, I'd be happy to share with our families. Something that really connected with me back when Kendall was like fifth grade. I always like to share stories. When he was in fifth grade, they've been doing this since I went to this elementary school. They would have you write what you wanted to be. They would have you trace your hand, and they would have you write what you wanted to be. And there's this fifth grade wall of hands for everybody who's leaving. And it stays on the wall forever. People like be doctors, be lawyers, be, all firemen and all of this. Kendall's was be inspiring. And whenever I find there's an organization that is wanting to do what you all have done, it's an inspiration to me. It's an inspiration to the kiddos. It's an inspiration to the parents who see your willingness to work with special needs children that are essentially just special. I really think that it's awesome that you're going to carry those additional ukulele strings, because I've already ran through like 3 of them personally. So I will be there to I'll be there to get some, because right now it's just sitting in retirement and I've done it a complete disservice. But thank you so much, Rice, for being with us today. I do not see a ton of questions in the chat. I have went on though and shared your website. I will do that again. And if you're on Instagram, it's Apt4Music. And it's the same on Facebook, of course. I've just shared a post and tagged on our Facebook. So please follow. Make sure you share a post. Tell a friend, tell a colleague about the wonderful and amazing work that Apt4Music is doing in our community with regard to music and just inspiring and educating those with an aptitude. So thank you all for being with us this morning.
Oh.
Avon has a question. That's our project manager here at A Better Life Together for the Bridge Project. Okay. Avon, you have a question?
Oh, okay, yes. Hi, good morning. I did. I just typed it in the chat. But first, I just want to say, Rice, that you have a wonderful program. I mean, you make me want to sign up and be a part of your program. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
The question I had, did I hear you say that you were hiring or looking for like instructors or people to help teach or facilitate?
The short answer is yes, but the longer answer is we're not at a position where we can afford them. And again, we're new. Even though we opened our doors March 1st, we really didn't start cranking until June 15th when the mandate was lifted. Okay. And even then, like, we had programs ready to go and we thought maybe, there's going to be this flood because everyone's been cooped up. And it was actually just the opposite. And even now in November, we basically had to cancel our summer programs because we didn't have signups for it, enough signups. And we, even in conjunction with some of the other, we're working with Monart and If I Was a Bird Yoga. It's for Thanksgiving camp, Christmas and New Year's. It's still pretty thin right now. So really, we don't want to say rush it. We want to do this right. We're in this for the long haul. Like in my opinion, I want this to grow to a national level. Like I envision this being a YMCA for artists. You know, if I was to ask you, what's the one after school, or what's the one program you could think of that's based in music and arts? What could you tell me? Right? I'll say one you probably recognize. School of Rock, right? We've all heard of School of Rock. Okay. But if I was asking you the next one, it gets even harder to think of. So that's kind of my grandeur dream, if you will, is where this is that household name where it's like, I know that my kids can go there just like they could go to a YMCA after school, but instead of, you know, the sports in the swimming pool, it would be group band experiences and things like that. So that said, we're not in a rush. And we don't want to say overstep. Maybe society is still trepid with going out, and, you know, and it is. So we're just very aware of that and need to take our time. That said, when the time comes, again, part of the opportunities is not just music education, but employment. One of the programs that we're working on is allowing college kids to earn credits through an intern program here. And now that we're 501c3, I'm a Mesa alum. They're listening to us now. They're like, oh, you guys are legitimate. You know, it's like, yes. So we're looking forward to that. And also as we grow, like usually if you go to a music class or music education, like Guitar Center or Sam Ash or something, you pay a flat rate, you get what you get. We want to kind of offer maybe tiered services. So let's just start in the middle. That would be, say, myself as an educator, DJ, our piano and vocal instructor. We are professional musicians. We are career musicians, varying degrees of education, but plenty of experience. We'll call us the middle tier, and that would be our flat rate. We charge on average $40 for a 30-minute lesson. We have a scholarship program now that helps subsidize that, but let's just call that the average. So the tier up from that would be our specialty instructors. And I mentioned horn players earlier. Well, I have a violin player who's one of the most amazing violinists I've ever heard. We couldn't afford him if we tried. Plain and simple. But that said, we also don't have a huge demand for violin right now. But imagine you go onto our website and you have that option. Well, then I reach out to him and I connect you two directly. And then let's say the low tier. This is the one I'm really excited about. This is where we can provide a college student an opportunity for their first job to start their portfolio. Now, what this does for the consumer, gives you options. You know, it's like, if I just want, you know, again, the medium tier, Rice, DJ, Kelly, love you guys, you know, perfect talent, you work great with my kid. Maybe that's a little pricey still. So what we can offer now is an individual who's not as, say, qualified or as experienced or as educated as us, but still a brilliant musician, still works great with kids, but just needs their opportunity as an educating professional. So you now have the option to choose them at a discounted rate, but also knowing that, again, their experience is limited, but you're providing an opportunity for them now. And I keep going back to that word opportunity, you know? And a lot of times too, like we have this one young woman, she's 22 years old. I call them my kids because I went to school with them and I'm twice their age. So I still call them my kids, you know? But the little girl, like imagine if you're, from a parent's point of view, your 6-year-old daughter wants to take voice lessons. Well, would you want to take it from me, a guy? First of all, I have a tenor or a baritone voice. Your little daughter has a soprano. Or from a girl who's closer to her age, who actually sings soprano. And there's an opportunity for a little better synergy between the younger, again, kids, my kids, the college student kids. And so as we grow, we think that's going to differentiate us from, again, the Guitar Centers or the Sam Ashes of the world, where it's one stop, one price, you get what you get. You know, we are marketing savvy. We are business savvy. That's part of what we want to teach here too, because that is how you're going to make a living, if you truly want to make a living in this industry.
Right.
So forgive me, I know that's a very, very long-winded way of saying, are we hiring anybody right now? Right now, no. But if you could refer anybody to us, we are starting to collect resumes because we're targeting January. And again, this might be a little, over zealous, but we're hoping in January. With our nonprofit status now, we'll start getting some donations and contributions. And with that, we may be able to hire new educators because that will allow us to expand our student body, in which case there's only so much time DJ and I have in any given week. Also, maybe after the new year, some of the COVID trepidation will be behind us as well. Maybe with more children being vaccinated, what we thought might have been an explosion in the summertime, maybe that will be the winter break now, so really we're about positioning ourselves to be ready for it. And so if you do know of anybody you could refer, we're very transparent about our position. We're very humble that we're not as big as we hope to be down the line, but if they're willing to supply us a resume and make an introduction, we would love to, we'd be very, very gracious and thankful for that.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know, if you had like a flyer or anything via that you can send via email.
I can send a bunch of these. Chances are I can send them to Melissa and she can distribute them. And let me introduce my partner DJ here, who is out of his lesson now.
Hi, everybody. I had like a conundrum of morality this morning, in that who I was just working with is a base student, a scholarship student who crosses town on the bus basically in order to get here and have his morning lesson. And we've got to fulfill our mission. So I heard Rice kind of talking about employment opportunities and such. And right now, Rice and I are both, grinding it out, making sure that we're staying true to teaching the way that we want to be teaching. And, primarily, but it's so great to see you all. Thank you so much.
DJ is the chief operations officer here, and he basically is at ground zero, the educator, the guy behind the plan, the curriculum, again, I couldn't be more blessed to be in partnership with him, because he keeps me grounded. First of all, I'm usually the guy with his head in the clouds. He's the guy with his feet on the ground. And together we have this great synergy going on to provide these opportunities.
And on that end, since I'm able to pop in, if anybody has any questions specific to our teaching methods or, the ways in which we work with various types of students, from young to those on the spectrum, I'd be happy to answer those.
Okay. What did you say about violin? Did you say that you don't have that many violin students at the moment?
We don't have any, but it's just one of those that if all of a sudden there's an explosion of violin students, or again, the San Diego Youth Symphony is going to be moving in here this year. Really, it's, if there's demand for it, we know who to call first.
Okay.
Or at least I mentioned I call him the upper tier violin guy. We know a couple mid tiers as well, but really, again, if we had one violin student, it wouldn't be appropriate for us to hire a full-time or even part-time staffer for that, So, yeah. But again, we're not afraid to make referrals and on a contract basis, because again, we don't want to say, well, no, we're not driven by money here. We're driven by opportunity,
Okay.
Providing that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Right on. I see a question here about price range for lessons. So essentially the average class is 30 minutes, or excuse me, not class, but individual instruction is one-on-one, 30 minutes, $40. Like DJ just mentioned, our scholarship recipient right there, Vigo, he's got that down to $6. We grandfathered him in from the previous music establishment that we worked 4 years ago. And because he kept in touch with DJ, we felt compelled. And technically we don't have that scholarship fund, but we're taking the hit on our own because, again, we believe in the bigger picture here. But if you were to just come in, sign up for yourself. And what's cool about our website is you can self-book. It's $40 for a 30-minute lesson. We also offer 20-minute lessons, 45-minute lessons. And the prices accordingly. For our group programs, if you just wanted to come in and be part of our 45-minute group experience, the Kids Collab, like I mentioned, it's $25 per child or per student. If you are already a student, a private instruction student, that's discounted to $20. So again, we try to provide incentives for those who are already part of the family, if you will. And then we have varying other scale degrees with some of the affiliates we have here in the building, Treehouse Academy. If I Was a Bird Yoga, I mentioned earlier, we're part of the Liberty Station Friends of NTC. And so if you're a friend of NTC, there's a flat 10% discount, nonprofit rates, things like that. Again, artists supporting artists.
What about students who play in school?
So
Like in the school orchestra or band, or is there a discount for those students or?
For those students, if they're already skilled students, we do have some opportunities where we create little mini age appropriate bands. We have 2 running right now, one of which is about 11 to 13, but it's very specific. They all love to play pop music, and one of their friends is, a saxophonist. I don't teach saxophone, but I do coach bands and coach this band that has a saxophonist involved. And so when I'm telling them, the rhythm or the music language things that they need to be doing on their instrument, it's different than if I was trying to teach them how to do the fingering on the instrument to begin with.
Yep.
So that's how we right now incorporate people who are already in school bands and those kinds of things.
Okay.
And we work with each band on an individual basis as far as their needs in regards to rehearsals, and split it up amongst the band.
Okay.
One band, they have basically a scholarship recipient student. He's a phenomenal bassist. He's awesome, and he doesn't pay anything because the rest of the band parents are like, look, we just want all the kids to have this experience, and he's a great asset to this band. He's always there. He's always practicing. So we will all chip in to make sure that that flat rate for the band is covered.
That's
so we
wonderful.
look for those kinds of situations now for our players that are of that age and already have skill.
Okay, that's wonderful. Very nice. Okay.
Again, coming down to, especially now that we have our nonprofit designation, we're hoping with the kindness of donations and community support, as DJ just mentioned, the parents are supporting us on that level, So it's just support on top of support on top of support, but rooted in the community and geared towards, again, kids mostly, but basically anybody who wants access to the musical arts. And as we grow, as our scholarship program grows, we'll be able to provide even more discounted and incentive programs and scholarship programs. And so Avon, you mentioned, for kids that are in the school orchestras, by all means, if you ever wanted to get us in touch with the musical director of whatever school your child might go
That's what I was thinking of. That's why I asked if you had flyers or.
Yes.
Because my daughter, she plays in her school's orchestra, and that's why I was asking.
Excellent. Then I will get these in PDF format over to Melissa, and we'll forward those along. And
I took some physical ones too when I was there. They're actually up above my desk, Avon.
Awesome, cool.
Oh, perfect. I'm going to take a couple.
We got some new ones now too as we grow. We got some really cool stickers and pens now, little by little. But I suppose if we could ask anything, it's just spread the word. We're a very roots organization. I've been in this community for 25 years. I raised my children here. DJ's been teaching in this community for 5-7 years or so, and he's about to have his first child. So he's contributing to the community in his own.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so, really, things like this, Melissa, your kindness to just invite us into something like this. This is tenfold, a million times fold better than just say paying Google for their ads or something. We would rather do it this way. So if we could ask anything, just if you believe in what we're doing, please spread that word. Send people to our site, and that's all we could ever ask for.
Perfect. Okay.
I think that's a wonderful note to end on. I am so happy to have you all with us this morning. I just think about how music opened me up, how the arts opened me up, because I've always been different. That was one of the first things that we did for Kendall. Once we were going through the process, we gave him a drum. Then the next thing you know, my dad had a whole setup in my old bedroom and was propping up my son against the wall to play drums. Then came the trombone. It's a way of expression. Especially for those kiddos that are nonverbal, but are coming out of it. That was what really turned his light on. And I'm just a firm believer that It's just it is a way to communicate those things that you may not be able to say.
Yeah.
So I'm down. I actually did not hear the first time that there was singing lessons, and that's something that should never stop. So y'all are gonna see me for that. Personally, as well as the ukulele, because I just broken so many strings. Okay, so I got to get it together. But I thank you all for being with us this morning. Rice and DJ, if you all can hang on just 1 second. But thank you all for being with us. Again, we're going to do our COVID pandemic clap. Don't let this one touch this one. Thank you to Apt4Music.
Thank you all so much for letting us be here. Hope to see you soon.
Bye. Thank
All
you.
right. Bye-bye.